Hey family, good afternoon. Okay, so I just have a quick message slash story for you guys. Okay, so when I was in high school many years ago, I had a teacher. She was my art teacher, and she was a Delta, and she was just the coolest teacher ever. I just loved her, right? So after experiencing, being in her class and getting to know her, I was like, I want to be a Delta. Like, ever since that day, I always wanted to be a Delta, okay? But, after high school, um, I wanted to major in interior design, okay? So my choices as far as school was the Art Institute or Savannah State, okay? And I really wanted to go to Savannah State because I wanted to continue playing softball, and I also wanted to pledge, okay? But I end up not going to Savannah State because I realized like majority of the people at my high school was going there, and I didn't want to go there because I did not have a great experience in high school, and I didn't want to, be around people that make my life miserable, okay? So I decided to go to the Art Institute, okay? And so even though I was at this art school, I tried many ways to figure out how could I still pledge, but it just never worked out. And I guess that was God's way of keeping me from participating in something I shouldn't be, as a believer, participating in anyways, okay? So long story short, okay, I never became a Delta, okay? But lately, God has been bringing up videos to me about, you know, sorority sisters that are denouncing their, you know, their, you know, whatever is called, they sisterhood, I guess. Okay, so they're no longer participating in the sorority activities because they realizing that it's going against their belief. Okay, so when doing some research, okay, because I really, I just wanted to know the meaning behind these fraternities and sororities and why they use Greek letters. Like, out of all the letters that you could use, why Greek? Okay, so they chose Greek letters, okay, because they adapted their way of thinking, okay? So they've gone and participated in, you know, doing these Hellenistic ways, right? That the Greek did, right? They adapted these ways, the ways of they think, and their culture, their history, right? And they made this sisterhood and brotherhood, right? So when you're pledging to these fraternities and sororities, you're taking an oath. You're pledging to also participate in Greek way of thinking, their history, their way of life, right? So as a believer, you can't do both, right? You can't say you follow God, that you're a believer of God, that you love God, but at the same time also participating in beliefs and ways of a society that worship fallen angels, demons, okay? In Leviticus 18:35, it says, So do not act like the people in Egypt where you used to live, or like the people of Canaan where I am taking you. You must not imitate their ways of life. You must obey all my regulations and be careful to obey my decrees, for I am the Lord your God. Okay? So if you're following Yahweh's laws and commands, right? That means you can't participate in these fraternities and sororities because God said not to participate and follow their ways, right? And if you following their ways, then you're not following God. You see how you can't do both, right? So I've been seeing all these videos of believers that are denouncing their sisterhood. And I know, most people get in these groups because it gives you benefits, right? You have, like, when everybody see maybe your jacket or whatever your little symbol is on your car or whatever, you get special privileges, right? So when you give up that sisterhood or brotherhood, that means you have to give up those privileges that come with those, being in that group, okay? But, you know, the way I see it is the way these celebrities participate in certain acts in order to become more famous. This is the same thing. You're participating in sinful acts that God said we shouldn't participate in order to become more established in your life, okay? So if you're a true believer, if you really, believe and love God the way you say you do, then it's no way that you could be doing both, okay? And I don't know who this message is for, but God said if you want to improve y'all relationship, okay, between you and him, then you're gonna have to let that sisterhood or brotherhood go, okay? You cannot do both. You cannot say you love God and be also participating in a lifestyle that he says as his follower we shouldn't be participating in, okay? So yeah, like I know it's gonna be a tough transition. um Undoing things that you've been doing for a while is always hard, okay? But you got to look at what is more important. This temporary brotherhood, sisterhood that you have here on earth, or your relationship that you're going to have with God forever, okay? Because this relationship is going to go past death, right? It's going to determine where you spend eternity, okay? So this is the thing about God. God is always looking about the long term. He never focused on the short term. He always focused on the long term, okay? And as a believer, you have to have that same mindset. You can't just focus on the right now. You got to focus on the goal, the ending goal, okay? And the ending goal as a believer is to go and spend eternity with him, okay? And I'm gonna just say this one last thing. In the book of Enoch, okay, right before the fallen committed sin, right? They took an oath to Samaja. They made a pledge, an oath that they was gonna commit sin, okay? So when you follow these beings, these fallen angels, these are the ones that Greek and the Egyptians worship, okay? So when you participate in their way of life, you're participating in those fallen angels' way of life, and they participate in sin, okay? I love y'all, and y'all have a great day.